Is A.J. Brown a top 10 NFL wide receiver? Who will win the AFC West? And would you rather have Big Ben or Eli Manning? Let's get it.
Every day, all over the world, millions of people are playing, talking, or debating sports. What if there was a way we could turn the debate into a sport? A competition where two contestants battle, but only one leaves a winner. Ladies and gentlemen, From the Sideline podcast presents The Fade Room.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the next episode of The Fade Room. First, let me start by introducing the judges. First up, we got the certified genius himself, all the way from the West Coast. It's Melvin. What's up, Melvin?
Yo, what's going on, guys? This is Simon Cowell Sports. Let's get it going.
Yeah. All right. Your second judge for the evening is the man himself who makes it all happen. He's the guy that rescues all the cats and the old ladies from the burning buildings. It's Troy. What's up, Troy?
Man, Captain Salute. All right? Whoever loses tonight game, Captain Salute. All right. You guys better bring that heat. I want the fire. GK, back to you.
And then the third judge tonight is myself, GK. So, before I introduce the contestants, we'll go over the rules. Go ahead, Troy.
The rules of the Fade Room. You may only speak when it's your possession. Each possession has a 60-second shot clock. Each round consists of 8 minutes plus 60-second closing statements. Each player gets one chance to instantly steal back possession by saying cookies. Each player gets one chance to go no huddle for a 10-second extension by saying Omaha. Judges score every round. The winner will be announced at the end of the show.
All right. So our first contestant, we have returning the wide receiver tight end from the University of Houston, the man himself, the big guy, Trent McGahee. What's good, Trent? How you feeling?
Yo, what's good? You know, shout out my boy Nigel. It's about to be a good battle, but I've been getting a lot of some hate. So yeah, I just gotta put a W in my belt. And it's that. That's it.
Who's on your shirt? What is that?
It's shout out Tatum. Feel me? Just a little slang for
Hey,
it. Shout out Tatum.
let's go. All right. And then the challenger, all the way from Colorado. He's 19 years old. He's a radio producer. He enjoys the Steelers and the Sixers. It's the notorious one, Nigel. What's up, Nigel?
What's up, GK? I'm here. I'm getting ready to debate Trent. We've been debating a lot in the Discord. We got to get it, where everybody can see it. So I'm down. It's gonna be fun.
Let's go. Okay, so without further ado, we flipped a coin, and Trent won and elected to go second. So that means Nigel will go first on our first topic. Let me set up my timer. And the first topic is A.J. Brown a top 10 wide receiver? So Nigel, your time starts now.
Alrighty. So I do believe that A.J. Brown is a top 10 wide receiver. First things first, I'm gonna start off by listing 7 names that I won't debate that are better than him. Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, DeAndre Hopkins, Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, Deebo Samuel, but I think he's on the next tier of those receivers. When you combine route running, hands, after the catch ability, outside of maybe 3 of those guys, maybe 4 of those guys, I think he combines those skills more than anybody in the league. I think we saw it in 2020, especially when the Titans were throwing the ball less than pretty much any team in the league, and he was still going out there and producing 1,000 yards. He had 11 touchdowns on not a crazy amount of targets. And this year he was hurt, but he was still able to be around a top 15-ish receiver in terms of yards per game. And once he's healthy, I think he's going to dominate next year.
So I'm the believer that A.J. Brown is not a top 10 receiver. These are the names. He said the 7, but I'm gonna repeat it. Tay Adams, Justin Jefferson. I think they're all better. Tay Adams, Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins, Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, Deebo Samuel. And then if you go deeper into the list, you have dudes like Terry McLaurin. You got dudes like Chris Godwin, if you want to think about it, even though he's been hurt. But even though A.J. Brown's a good receiver, but when you look at all these other receivers, talking about route running, hands, impact to their team, how versatile they are, A.J. Brown is not better than none of those guys that I named. Like a guy like Terry McLaurin, who's not even in the top 10 yet, he's had 8 different quarterbacks in 3 seasons. and still putting up. He's produced better numbers than him. And then as you watch film and
10
how
seconds.
he works as a receiver, he's better than him, and he don't even crack the top 10. So I don't think AJ Brown up there yet.
5, 4. You're on mute. Yeah, go ahead.
Mute.
You're on mute, Nigel.
Good.
There you
All right. All right. So you mentioned Terry McLaurin, and he has dealt with a lot of like different quarterbacks, none of which are really that good. But if we want to look at the production, I mean, AJ in less games actually did outproduce Terry McLaurin, while missing, I believe he missed 4 games, and you mentioned Mike as well, and Mike's a guy that plays with Tom Brady. He plays with Tom Brady, one of the best QBs in the league, one of the best of all time.
Hey, that's it.
Okay, so
Go ahead, Trent.
Mike Evans, he just got with Tom Brady. Mike Evans been in this league for almost a decade, been having 8 straight seasons with 1K. Like he's had Jameis Winston, even though he's thrown 30 for 30. Like, but Jameis Winston not all that. I mean, even Michael Evans as a receiver, he's a 6'4" receiver, still has great route running. His impact to his team is still very well. And then just as a receiver, period, we know who the caliber of Mike Evans is. He doesn't need a Tom Brady to still produce. He's produced with other better quarterbacks. I mean, other worse quarterbacks. So I don't think the QB argument doesn't make the case for him like that for Mike Evans either. And if we do the QB argument, there's even guys like DJ Moore that would be better than him because he has literally the worst quarterback in the league, and a dude named Sam Darnold. Like 2 back-to-back years, he's throwing more picks and touchdowns, and he's still been able to have 3 straight 1K seasons. And then on the tape, he's still phenomenal.
Go ahead, Nigel.
All right. Going back to the Mike Evans point, yeah, he has just recently gotten Tom Brady. And with Jameis Winston, who I don't hold super highly, but with Bruce Arians, like they're throwing the ball every play. Like they're throwing the ball more than pretty much every team in the league. And when you're throwing the ball that much, production's gonna come. And Mike Evans is of that tier around AJ Brown.
We're about halfway through
but
the
I
round.
believe AJ.
Go ahead. Go.
But I believe AJ Brown's better because he produces around the same per year while having less opportunities. Like with the Titans playing with Derrick Henry, they're gonna pound the ball a lot of the time, especially in the red zone. So when you look at the touchdown numbers, it's even impressive. You look at Mike Evans; he had like 14 touchdowns compared to AJ's 11 last year, and that's with Mike Evans getting way
10
more
seconds.
opportunities. And with Mike Evans, they've been using him in a sort of a different role than they have with Jameis Winston. They haven't allowed him to run the full route tree, and I think
That's
it's
it.
because.
Well, to go back to Mike Evans, I mean, he's still getting these 1Ks almost every year with other great targets around him. Like Brady threw for 5K, you still have Gronk, who's still a great tight end with 800, and Chris Godwin still getting 1,000 yards. It's still great that he's still getting 1Ks with all those great talent around him. But to go back to even the other receivers, he doesn't. AJ Brown's he's a good receiver, but he's not up there in the upper echelon for top 10. Because I don't even know if he's better than DK Metcalf, if we're being honest with you. They basically almost the same receiver. Not like they have the same abilities, but like in DK, he's not even top 10 right now. And then Keenan Allen has been underrated for years. His game as a wide receiver, his route running, the hands and all that intangible stuff as a receiver, he's been the dog for years. So I don't know how he's going to crack the top 10.
10 seconds.
I don't see it.
Go ahead, Nigel.
All right, so you mentioned DK Metcalf. He was around like 30th in yards per game. And I know he was missing Russell Wilson for a lot of the year, but Tyler Lockett was by far he was producing even more than AJ Brown. So I don't really see the DK argument. I think he has the speed advantage. I think route running, you got to give that to AJ. I think hands, you got to give to AJ. And AJ, another thing I didn't mention, among receivers, he was second in broken tackles in 2020. And that's a stat that's usually used for running backs, but I think it should be used for receivers as well because it shows just how much you're creating once you actually have the ball in your hands. It's a little bit easier to get open than it is to make something happen once you actually have the ball. And I think AJ Brown, outside of Deebo Samuel and outside of Jamar Chase, and maybe throwing Tyreek Hill in there, I think he's the best in the league at that. Good.
Go ahead.
Yeah, he got the breaking tackles ability, but shouldn't AJ Brown be more? Well, I could say have a little bit more in the production wise when you have the best running back in the league, because you can scheme and game plan when you have literally the best running back in the league and a tank back there and do more play actions or just even figure out. Even though they picked up Julio Jones and I know he was hurt, you still had talent around that offense. And I'm not saying that AJ Brown like he doesn't produce well or something, but compared to all these other guys, even the guys that are in harder situations than him, they're still doing better than him. And then as a receiver or everything, right, I can give you the AJ Brown with the breaking tackles thing, but how much really does that weigh in when we talk about big receivers like that? Because we talk about Deebo Samuel and Jamar Chase. Those are only things we talk about. And then like for
10
receivers,
seconds.
talking about everything, not just no breaking tackles though.
Go ahead, Nigel. 25 seconds left in the round.
All right. I agree that breaking tackles, that's obviously not the most important thing. That's why he's not in that upper echelon of receivers with the Devontae Adams, with the Justin Jefferson, because those are guys that can do everything. And going back to your Derrick Henry point, I think that proves my point even more. When you have a dominant running back like Derrick Henry, you're going to want him to get him the ball, especially in the red zone where he can bruise and get touchdowns. I think if AJ had more opportunity, he'd be able to produce just as well as these top guys.
All right, guys. So Trent goes first for closing arguments. It's been a really good round so far. I'll make a comment after the closing arguments. Okay, Trent, your time starts now.
Yeah, I mean, AJ Brown's a good receiver, but off the top of the name, off the heads, I think that are better than AJ Brown or Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins, Tyreek Hill. I didn't even name, even though he hasn't been playing a while, I haven't named dude like Michael Thomas, Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, Mike Evans, Keenan Allen. You got Deebo Samuel, DJ Moore, Chris Godwin, Tyler Lockett. You can stay Tyler Lockett, DK. It's just a plethora of receivers that I believe are still over AJ Brown. But yeah, that's really about it.
All right.
There's no other case for that.
60 seconds, Nigel.
So to close this, I think the two most important things, or really the three most important things that you can add as a receiver, is the route running, the hands, and what you can do with the ball in your hands. And I think even just removing Jamar Chase, removing Deebo, removing Tyreek, you can even throw a guy like CeeDee Lamb in there who's great after the catch. I think AJ is top of the line when it comes to those traits. I think really the only thing that's pushing him from the top five is having an offense where they throw the ball a lot, like a Tampa, like I know Washington doesn't throw it a lot, but they throw it a lot more than Tennessee does. And without a guy like Derrick Henry there, I could see the AJ Brown having like top of the line stats, like close to like 1,400, 1,500 yards, like we've
10
seen
seconds.
from the best guys in the league.
All right, awesome round, guys. I was back and forth. I'm still probably going to take a little while to decide on that, but don't forget, time of possession is crucial. So Trent stole on the second possession, and he bought himself 60 extra seconds. And neither one of you extended with an Omaha, and you can buy yourself 10 extra seconds. And Nigel, you didn't use your cookies at all. So don't be shy, man. Cut him off. Like as soon as he starts, steal it right back. All right. We're gonna throw a poll in the chat. Hopefully everybody in the chat, please vote. Pick who you think won the round, who did a better job debating. Yeah, and then we'll go right into question number 2. And that is who will win the AFC West? Trent's gonna go first. Troy, if you want to throw Trent on the main screen. And then, all right, if everybody's ready, who will win the AFC West? Trent, your time starts now.
Okay, I'm still a firm believer that the Kansas City Chiefs will win the AFC West. Now I understand how much the big old signings they would like the Oakland Raiders getting the best team in the league, Devontae Adams, the Broncos getting quarterbacks like quarterback Larry Russell Wilson, and the Chargers getting all these major pickups. But you still have to recognize the fact that it's still on paper. For the past 5 years, the Chiefs have won a division. They had the best quarterback in the league. They got arguably basically the best tight end in the league. Even though they lost a big piece in Tyreek Hill, they can still get it back. And they have Andy Reid, who's a great offensive coach, and Eric Bieniemy, who's a great offensive minded head coach too. Plus, even though they lost Tyrann Mathieu, they still pick up again another good safety in Justin Reid. So I think they'll be just fine. And you have number 15 back there. I think they'd be fine, just still win the AFC West.
All right. So I believe the LA Chargers are going to win the division. We can start off with the offense. I mean, the offense was already one of the best in the league in a season where they didn't make the playoffs, and they only added to that. They added offensive linemen last offseason. They added Zion Johnson in the draft with the first round pick. Now their offensive line is looking like kind of one of the best in the league if he pans out the way they hope he will. You've got the receivers there. You've got Keenan Allen. You've got Mike Williams. And I think with them, they complement each other better than they might not be the best duo, but I feel like they complement each other with their skill sets better than almost any duo in the league. You've got a Keenan Allen who could go intermediate. You've got a Mike Williams who's one of the best deep threats in the league and proved it last year with his frame and the way he can get jump balls. And that's just only going to make things easier for Justin Herbert, who is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He showed it last year,
Time. I'm
and
sorry,
now
I
with
didn't give you one. Taking notes. My bad.
Oh, it was on me.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. I get the new signings and all, but again, we have to see.
Go ahead. Cookies.
All right. I want to talk about the Chiefs. The Chiefs, I feel like they're gonna have a little bit too much reliance on rookies this year. Obviously they lost Tyreek Hill, which is a huge loss. I believe he's gonna make it even harder for Travis Kelce to be as productive as he was, just because his ability to stretch the field opened up so much in the middle, and now defenses can focus even more on Travis Kelce. And I mean, we saw last year they started running too high on the Chiefs. They struggled for the first half of the year adjusting to that. Now they did make adjustments and they made the AFC Championship game, but now with that deep threat kind of gone, you're relying on Sky Moore, a second round pick, to come in and maybe not replace that, but to be sort of productive in that offense. And that's just a lot to ask of a rookie wide receiver.
10
And then you
seconds.
look at the defense, you got a George Karlaftis, Omaha. Um, you've got George Karlaftis, who's a pretty good rookie, but he's a rookie. You're going to rely on him to be creating pressure off the edge alongside Trent Clark. Um, it's a tall tale to ask, especially when you lose Tyrann Mathieu in the backfield. So I think they're going to be relying on a lot of young players a little bit too much.
Done.
I mean, I don't think they're relying on that many players. They signed Juju Smith. Now he's had a couple down years, but I will say the last time we've seen Juju Smith as a number 2 option, because obviously Travis Kelce will be number 1. He had the best year in his career, and he had over 1,400 yards, and he's going to have the best QB behind him. They still have a great offensive line. We talk about the Chargers. Yeah, you got to do like a little Mac who's coming off an injury. You don't know how healthy he's going to be. You know, Derwin James coming back, but we all know Derwin James, he's always injured. So just like, I don't think that injuries play a part in the Chargers. And then you look at the Chiefs, you said what?
Halfway through the round. Go ahead.
You can still figure out a way to use their offense with all the speed they got. They got Marquise Valdes-Scantling, who was just on the Packers. He's an all right receiver, but again, they got a bunch of speed. McCole Hardman,
10 seconds.
Scar Moore, Omaha, McCole Hardman. You got Juju, he's not that fast, but he's still going to eat immediate, and he's going to be a number 2 option. You're not going to be that much worried. You still got the best tight end in the game, and they just signed Ronald Jones, who was just on the Bucs, and he was a solid running back who can help with the pass game.
Good shit.
All right. Going to your argument about the receivers, I think with Tyreek Hill there, I mean, they were guarding the Chiefs more crazily than any team in the league. Not only because Mahomes, but because Tyreek can stretch the field at any given point.
Cookies.
And with Marcus,
Hey.
So you're talking about, I guess you're saying about Tyreek and how fast, but they literally have a dude who's like 0.2 slower than Tyreek Hill and McCole Hardman. He's not the best version he's not better than Tyreek Hill. But again, with Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid back there, again, with Patrick Mahomes, who we know whose arm is ridiculous, he can throw it anywhere on the field. They're going to make it. It's going to work. They're going to make it work. And again, having Travis Kelce, who's a big tight end, who's you're going to focus on, the way how you play it, and all these signings you're getting with the Sky Moores, even though you're saying he's a second round pick, bro, dude, nice. You still got Scantling. They have a bunch of speed, and we all know Kansas City's offense before has been a bunch of speed. So even though you lose your second best target, who's really huge in your game, they can still replace it and still produce and he can still produce more on how great Patrick Mahomes is and how great his arm talent is. So, and then that's it.
All right. Yeah, so with the Chargers, I think you could say the same thing about the Chargers. Herbert's got an arm better than dang near anybody in the league. He's going to be able to get it to Keenan Allen to Mike Williams, just like he did last year when they had one of the best offenses in the league. And I haven't even mentioned Austin Eckler, who's kind of a do-it-all running back. He's maybe not the best natural rusher, but in the receiving game, he's one of the best in the league. That gives him another target. And I haven't even talked about the defense. They've got Joey Bosa, one of the best edge rushers. They've got Khalil Mack, who maybe won't produce the sack numbers, but with a Chargers team that was so bad against the run, they need a guy like Khalil Mack, who's one of the best run defenders on the edge in the entire NFL. And you talk about Sebastian Joseph Day, who's one of the key contributors to the Rams winning the Super Bowl alongside Aaron Donald. Their rush defense, which was really what cost them a playoff spot last
5
year,
seconds.
I think they're going to have a huge impact in helping the Chargers
That's
win
it.
the division.
And then going back to again, the Chiefs. I get about the Chargers, a whole bunch of signings, but again, we literally have to see it. They make all these just new signings. But the past 5 years, the Kansas City Chiefs have been the big dog. They haven't lost. I mean, they haven't lost a division since like 2016, if I'm not mistaken. Now again, you lose Tyron, but you replace it in another great safety like Justin Reed, and you lose a receiver like Tyreek Hill, who everybody's gonna miss. But again, they can still make it. How great Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid is on an offensive line, they're going to be just fine. And I don't see them losing the division to somebody like the Chargers because I can see them competing. The Chargers competing. I just still don't think they're going to win though, because again, you got the best. If you got the best quarterback in the league, you got the best tight end, Omaha.
You already used it.
Are you using? I can't use
It's
that.
all right. We're about to get closing statements anyway.
I'm being straight.
Okay. All right. I don't know about everybody else, but I thought that was maybe one of the best rounds ever. Okay. So for closing statements, Trent, you go second. So Nigel goes first. Yep. All right, Nigel, your 60 seconds starts now.
Alrighty. So, for my closing statements, the Chiefs. I didn't even mention Trent McDuffie, who's a rookie corner. They're going to rely on him as well. So you got Sky Moore, you've got George Karlaftis, you got Trent McDuffie. The Chargers, outside of Zion Johnson, there isn't really a rookie they're really counting on to be great in order to win the division. They've got established guys in free agency, which is probably the better way to build if you want to be competitive immediately. You've got proven guys like Sebastian Joseph Day, like Khalil Mack, like J.C. Jackson. You got the best safety in the league in Derwin James. I think with Justin Herbert, who is really a top 5 quarterback in this league, and we saw last year. I mean, the Chargers competed with the Chiefs last year with a way worse defense. They beat them in Kansas City and almost beat them in L.A. as well. They went to overtime, and Herbert looked
10 seconds.
maybe not as good as Mahomes, but very good. And I think they can compete again and possibly even beat them 2 times. So I got them winning the division for sure.
Nice. You're up, Trent.
So, yeah, the Chargers made all these great signs, but I'm repeating what I said again. For the past 5 years, Kansas City Chiefs are one division. And again, they lost the 2 pieces and they replaced them. Now, again, you're saying relying on Trent McDuffie, but again, that's like you're going to be a second, third corner. You still got a solid corner, L'Jarius Sneed. I think people kind of drag how people talk about the Chiefs defense like it's really that dirt, or even if it's that dirt, you still have the best quarterback in the league to make it up because of how many points they score. So I just think that you got the best tight end in the league, you got the best quarterback in the league, and he still has still solid weapons around him. With the best tight end in the league, they're going to be just fine, win a division. That's really about it.
All right, sick. It's crazy to me no one brought up the schedule. I feel like somebody could have either attacked or defended by way of schedule, but I'm not familiar with it, so maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. But awesome round. And there's going to be a poll in the chat. Everybody vote, please. We want some chat feedback. Who won? Let us know. Taz, who do you think won? Godly, whoever's in there. Tell me who won. All right. And then so for the third round, Nigel's going to be going first. And the question is, would you rather have Big Ben Roethlisberger or Eli Manning as your quarterback? All right, Nigel, you're up and your time starts now.
Oh, okay, there we go. So with this question, I'm going with Ben Roethlisberger. I think he's shown more ability to actually carry the offense, more so than Eli Manning. Um, Big Ben, he's led a lot of top 10 offenses. Matter of fact, for 5 straight years, he led a top 10 offense from 2014 to 2018, and he had He had very good receivers: Antonio Brown, Martavis Bryant, Marcus Wheaton. He had a lot of great receivers, and he had Le'Veon Bell. But I've seen Eli with pretty good receivers not be able to produce the exact same way and not have their team close to the top of the standings. So I'd go with Big Ben. He's been better in the playoffs as a totality. I think with the problem with Eli is we
10
only
seconds.
focus on the couple of runs that he had, where he beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, but we don't look at the rest of the full picture where he's lost playoff games, and has
That's
not
it.
played well in them.
I would rather take Eli Manning because Eli has shown me that he can win with less talent on his roster. For example, Big Ben had the best receiver in the league, one of the greatest receivers in the league, Antonio Brown, and in prime, one of the best running backs in the league, Le'Veon Bell. Of course, we had Eli had Odell, but even the time we won the Super Bowls, it was just a solid team. And in 2011, the Giants were the only team I think in NFL history to win a Super Bowl as a 9-7. We had a ranked defense 27th in the league. It was like Eli took the carry job in that whole playoff run. I've seen Big Ben get carried to Super Bowls. I've never seen that for Eli Manning. Big Ben had one in 2008, had one of the greatest defenses of all time.
10 seconds.
So he performed all right in those playoff runs. Even back in 06 and 2005, his first Super Bowl, he was Mitski. So
That's
he
it.
wasn't.
All right. So, yeah, I'm going to talk about the Super Bowls. Big Ben, like his defense, if we're going to talk specifically about the Cardinals, his defense kind of sold. I mean, the Steelers were up 20, I believe it was 20-7.
Cookies.
And
Hey,
sorry.
How,
go ahead.
how his defense sell him? Am I mistaken? Do I not remember James Harrison have like a 100-yard pick six that game? I don't think my odds deceived me on that one. So I don't know how his defense sold him that Super Bowl, like at all. His defense played a big part. I think the last play of the game, Lamar Willie got a strip sack to win the game after Big Ben threw a touchdown. So I don't see how in that whole Super Bowl game, even that whole year, they allowed the fewest yards per attempt. Like, bro, that's one of the greatest top defenses of all time. So even like that whole Cardinals run, they stole that ring from Larry Fitzgerald. That defense played a major key in that. And compared to Eli Manning, yeah, the Giants had a big game in 07 and in the Super Bowl. But you look at that whole
10
year, we were like a top 15 defense. And in 2011, we were bottom ranked and we beat the Patriots again. So I can't see that.
That's it.
Very good. Okay. No, I'm talking the '08 Steelers defense. I'm never going to argue that is one of the best defenses of all time. I'm talking specifically in the second half of that game because that James Harrison play you're talking about, that was at the end of the first half. I'm talking about the second half when they allowed Larry Fitzgerald, like you said, to go off, and they went from being up 13 to all of a sudden being down 3, needing Big Ben to kind of come in and save the day, and that's exactly what he did. I mean, everybody and their mother has seen the throw to San Antonio Holmes. I mean, that is one of the greatest throws that we've ever seen in a Super Bowl.
Halfway through.
And that's one of the best throws we've ever seen in a Super Bowl, and it won them the game. It won them the game. And Lamar Woodley also did come up clutch, but that won them the game. There was only like 30 seconds left. So Ben has had to, even with these great defenses, even when they haven't been at their particular best, Ben has been able to come in and he's been able to kind of save the day and bring trophies to Pittsburgh.
How is he? I get the throw. So you're only really talking about the one Super Bowl in 08, even though his defense put a big load. Like I've seen Eli Manning have one of the greatest throws on the end zone, throwing it to Mario Manningham on the sideline catch. I've seen him throwing a helmet catch. People say it's lucky, but it's still a crazy throw how he broke through them tackles. Like Eli Manning has carried his team loads to more success, even though they have the same amount of rings. He's done it with less talent. So I just don't see how I would take Ben Roethlisberger who over a dude who's really, if you really look at it and look at even the playoff games, like even I think like in 06 or whatever year they won the first Super Bowl,
Cookies.
he didn't play that good.
Well, we're talking about that Super Bowl. We're talking about the same Super Bowl where the Patriots scored, I believe it was 17 points. They scored 17 points. This is an offense that literally set the record for the most points scored of all time. They scored, I believe the number's 37 points per game. And that Giants defense, we were saying this kind of mid, allowed 17 points to peak Tom Brady, peak Randy Moss. I mean, his defense. We talk about the helmet catch, and I do agree that was a fantastic throw, how he escaped pressure and all that. But that defense came in more clutch than Eli Manning, and especially when you consider the context of the offense that they're playing against, an undefeated team. You hold them to 17 points. A lot of teams are winning that super. A lot of quarterbacks, I believe, are winning that Super Bowl. But Eli did have the signature plays. But I think with a defense that's able to hold that high powered of an offense to that little amount of production, I really do think there's a lot of QBs that could have won.
Well, wouldn't you say they could have had a better game plan because the last game of the season they played them and Patriots dropped 38 points on them. So maybe they could have had a better adjust in the system. And then in that Super Bowl, I think Eli threw for like 255 and he had 2 touchdowns. So he really performed well in that Super Bowl. Plus he had the game-winning touchdown, 2 Plexico Birds on the fade route on the goal line with that drive. So the defense played a big part, but still Eli Manning throughout the playoffs. I'm not talking about that one game. The whole playoff season, regular series, he still had to carry the load on that team. And Ben Roethlisberger has more so relied on the defensive part because he's had way better teams and way better talent than Eli Manning has, even as an organization with coaches and stuff. So that Eli Manning has to carry the load, and that's why I would rather have him over Ben Roethlisberger because I can see him win more with less talent.
Good. Okay. So you're saying he could win more with less talent, which I personally don't agree with. But if you want to look at the numbers, I mean, Ben kind of clears everything. I mean, he has a higher passer rating. He's thrown for more yards per game. He has a higher completion percentage. He throws more touchdowns, less picks, yards per attempt higher. He's got more game-winning drives. So even with some of the best defenses in NFL history, he still had to go out there and win games with his arm, throwing to these receivers, handing off to these running backs. I mean, the stats he kind of clears.
All right. Awesome. So Trent's going to be going first for closing arguments.
Real quick, I would like to say Chad Pennington has a higher completion pass rating or pass completion percentage than Tom Brady. Are we gonna say he throw better dots? He a better pass than him? No. Just because you have a better completion percentage don't make you better than him. But again, for me, I would rather take Eli Manning because I've seen him win with less talent. And I see as a quarterback, I personally think he's a better accuracy. He has a better accuracy as a quarterback. They both have led the league in picks, so you can still say it's a wash. But again, with me personally, when you talking about, I guess, winning and who would you want to win the Super Bowl, he's beat the greatest team of all time, the greatest team to never win a ring. He's beaten another Patriots team, I think, that year when they was phenomenal. So again, as an underdog, I think the only team, again, 9-7, winning the Super Bowl with a bottom defense. So I'd rather have Eli Manning than Ben Roethlisberger because he can win with less talent on his team.
Good. All right. You mentioned how they both led the league in picks. Eli Manning threw at least double-digit picks every single year that he was the starter, and Ben cannot say that. He has pretty clearly been better at protecting the football. He's been a better deep ball thrower in his career than Eli Manning. And with Eli Manning, we've seen bad playoff games that kind of just don't get talked about because of these great runs that he's had. You want to talk about 08 against the Eagles as a favorite at home. He had 2 picks. He had no touchdowns. They scored like 11 points as a home favorite. You want to talk about 2016 when they got a great defense. They had like a top 3 defense in the league. They go to Green Bay, they get smacked. He has like a 70 passer rating. They score 13 points and they're getting destroyed. So even with these great defenses, Eli has come up short in some games that really doesn't get as much attention as the Super Bowl runs do. So I believe Ben is the better quarterback because of that.
Let's go, guys. I'm gonna have to look over all these notes to see who I have as a winner. But yeah, we're gonna throw another poll up in the chat, and let's go to Melvin. What'd you think of the battle?
Overall, thought it was a good battle. I think there were some points that didn't get made that should have been made. Like GK brought on a couple of them, but overall, good battles, guys. Good battle, good stats, good everything.
Amazing. Let's Troy. Thoughts?
Great battle. Loved it. Loved the cookies from both you guys. You guys are using the damn, you know, the rules, the things that we provided for you guys to have fun with doing this. You used it, so I'm happy with that. But yeah, good battle. I'll send my judgment over in a little bit.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna have to look over my notes. How you guys feel after that? Did you have fun? Nigel, it was your first time. Trent, how'd you feel being that, you know, now you got a little more experience under your belt? What do you guys think?
It's good to be back, bro. I've been busy. Been trying to do this. I've been trying to schedule this favor for like about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But like, it's always fun. So for me, I always enjoyed it.
It's been fun for sure. Yeah, I like debating a lot. Coming up with these points and trying to combat whatever the other person's saying. So it was fun. I enjoyed it. I'll definitely do this again.
Judging's hard, man. I like trying to host it, judge it, because I'm writing down all these notes. I got like all kinds of crazy notes and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and especially because it was really competitive too. I felt like
for sure.
As the rounds going on, I'm like, oh, Trent's ahead. I was like, oh, now Nigel's kind of ahead now, like back and forth. And then I was like, man, these closing statements better be good because it might change the who I think is the winner.
My shit, for sure.
All right, so I'm just waiting on these texts now from these guys, and I don't know if either of y'all have anybody in mind who you want to see next, or any topics or whatever, but anything you guys want to talk about in terms of, or hey, Trent, what's up with you got the Tatum on the shirt? What's the score of the game? You got it on?
Score, you my score of the game? No, it's 28-27. It's a good game, but you know that rematch coming soon, no Gbaby. I heard
you hear that, Gbaby?
I heard you was talking that talk. So it's coming soon. I ain't finna pay that any attention because he a little troll. So I can't pay that mind.
Shots fired.
Gbaby.
Appreciate you, Taz. Thank you for watching. Who do you think won, Taz? Damn. All right. We have a split decision.
Oh. Okay.
So, with two judges, wow, it's really split. Okay, so we have a judge having Nigel 2-1, a judge having Trent 2-1, and then I also scored it 2-1. Trent, you got your first dub. Let's go.
Thank God, bro.
Talk to him.
You know, I'm not finna get too cocky, but nah. Shout out my boy Nigel. I appreciate him for coming up here. You know, some other people be ducking, but let me chill. Let me chill. But you know, see this, it's gonna come soon when I whoop Gbaby ass. You see this? It's coming soon. So I'm not finna just a good battle, Nigel. But I'm on the Gbaby, and then I don't even crazy shot ducking. I can't even pay that mind. So appreciate it. Great battle, Nigel, my boy. So you know,
bro, you did a great job. I'm not gonna lie, like it was so close. It literally came down to the wire, like because I had Nigel winning like a round definitively, and then I also had him like, you know, I was like, I need to hear the closing. I was like, all right, he's killing closing, like so it was really close, like. But Nigel, how you feeling?
Oh, good. I'm feeling all right. I mean, I don't know. I thought I did pretty well. But I know
You did
Trent
great,
also
bro.
did. I thought Trent did also pretty well. So I'm not super surprised, but I did come in here expecting to win. So it's a little disappointing, but it's cool.
Bro,
It's my
you'll be
first
back.
time.
I'd love to have you back
Sure.
because I know, like, you're a winner, bro. You're gonna be beating some people's ass. But anyway, all right, y'all. Thank you for watching. For Troy, Melvin, Trent, Nigel, and myself, and From the Sideline podcast.